There is a seductive story we have been telling ourselves since the first radio telescopes tilted their vast mechanical ears toward the night sky. It goes something like this. The universe is enormous, almost incomprehensibly so, and enormous things tend to be full. Stars number in the hundreds of billions within our galaxy alone, and galaxies themselves number in the hundreds of billions across the observable cosmos. By sheer arithmetic, the argument continues, life must have erupted elsewhere, intelligence must have bloomed. Civilizations must be out there, broadcasting their presence into the void the way we broadcast our own, and it is only a matter of time, only a matter of engineering, sophistication, before we hear their voices crackling across the dark. It is a beautiful story. It is also, when measured against the cold, unfeeling mathematics of the physical universe, almost certainly wrong. Not wrong because life is rare, though it may be. Not wrong because civilizations are self-destructive, though they may be. Wrong in a far deeper, far more sobering sense. Wrong because the architecture of space-time itself, the geometry of an expanding cosmos governed by thermodynamic law, has constructed around each civilization an impenetrable wall of physical impossibility. The universe does not merely make contact difficult. It makes contact, in any meaningful, synchronized sense, mathematically forbidden. To feel the true weight of this, you need an image that does not merely illustrate scale, but actually recreates the physical sensation of it. Picture a violently expanding ocean, not a calm sea under stars, but a churning, roaring expanse, being torn apart from within, its surface area doubling and redoubling as you watch, its waves generated not by wind, but by the fundamental geometry of the space the water occupies. Now place yourself on its shore. You are blindfolded. You are wearing no instruments of any sophistication. And somewhere out there, thousands of miles away, across that heaving, expanding, thermodynamically hostile body of water, someone dropped a single grain of sand into the surface millions of years ago. The ripples from that grain have been traveling ever since, dispersing outward in all directions, losing amplitude geometrically with every passing moment, being stretched and degraded by the constant expansion of the ocean itself, arriving at your shore not as ripples at all, but as something indistinguishable from the ambient thermal vibration of the water molecules around your ankles. You are standing there, blindfolded, trying to hear that grain of sand. That is the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, not a failure of technology, a confrontation with physics. Begin with the first truth, the one that Einstein handed us over a century ago, and that we have never fully absorbed into our emotional understanding of the cosmos. The speed of light is not merely a speed. It is the universe's fundamental constraint on the flow of information through space and time. Nothing, no signal, no wave, no pattern of any kind can travel faster than light. This seems like a simple fact, almost pedestrian, until you follow its implications to their logical terminus. When you look at a star 400 light years away, you are not seeing that star as it exists now. You are seeing light that departed that star 400 years ago. The star you are observing is a historical document, a photograph from the past, and the star itself has moved on through time without your knowledge. Extend this to the galactic scale. The most distant galaxies we can observe sit over 13 billion light years away. The light reaching our instruments left those galaxies when the universe was in its infancy, when the first generation of stars were still burning through their hydrogen for the first time. We are receiving ancient transmissions from a cosmos that no longer looks like what we are seeing. Now apply this to the question of civilizations. Suppose an advanced technological species flourished in a distant galaxy 2 billion years ago. They were brilliant, patient, and generous. They decided to broadcast a beacon into the cosmos, a powerful, structured, artificial signal that could not possibly be mistaken for a natural phenomenon. They broadcast for 10 million years, an almost geological span of time by any biological standard. Then, as all things must, their civilization ended. Perhaps their star expanded into a red giant and swallowed their world. Perhaps entropy simply accumulated across their infrastructure until collapse became inevitable. Perhaps they evolved into something we would not recognize as civilization at all. But the point is this: their signal is still traveling. It has been traveling for 2 billion years. And whether it ever intersects with our planet during the narrow biological window in which we have the capacity to detect it is not a question of their sophistication or ours. It is a question of geometry. It is a question of whether a light cone originating 2 billion years ago and expanding outward through space at the speed of light happens to intersect with the precise location of Earth during the precise 400-year window in which we have had radio technology. The universe is not a synchronized network. It is an unsynchronized graveyard of signals from civilizations that may have lived and died before our sun had condensed from its original gas cloud. The temporal disconnection is not a problem to be solved with faster computers. It is a structural feature of a universe that does not permit information to travel faster than light across distances measured in billions of light years. We are not missing aliens because our telescopes are too small. We are missing them because the physics of space-time has scattered their messages across 2 billion years of travel time and distributed them across volumes of space so vast that even a directed beam of energy becomes a whisper below the threshold of any conceivable detection. But suppose we set aside the problem of temporal disconnection. Suppose we grant, purely for the purpose of following the physics, that a civilization exists right now, in our cosmic present, separated from us by a billion light years, and that they are broadcasting in our direction. Now the second truth arrives, and it is, if anything, more devastating than the first. The space between us is not static. It is not an empty container through which signals travel unchanged. It is a dynamic, expanding, geometric entity whose expansion is driven by dark energy, a form of energy woven into the vacuum of space itself, which pushes the fabric of space-time outward at an accelerating rate. This is not expansion in the conventional sense, where objects move through space away from each other. It is expansion of space itself, the stretching of the metric that defines distances, the pulling apart of the coordinate grid of the cosmos. What this means for any signal traveling toward us is deeply consequential. As a photon, a quantum of light or radio energy, travels through expanding space, the space it is traveling through is being continuously stretched. The wavelength of that photon is stretched along with the space. What began as a radio signal in a specific frequency band arrives at our instruments, redshifted into a completely different regime. If the source is far enough away, moving through the expansion fast enough, the signal does not merely change frequency. It is degraded below any detectable threshold entirely. The photon loses energy not because of resistance or friction, but because the universe itself has stretched it thin. There is a boundary in the observable cosmos called the cosmic event horizon, beyond which any object is receding from us faster than light, not because the object is moving through space at superluminal speeds, which relativity forbids, but because the space between us and that object is being generated at a rate that exceeds the speed at which light can cross it. Any signal emitted from beyond that horizon will never reach us. Not ever. Not with any conceivable improvement in our technology. The geometry simply will not permit it. The signal is racing toward us while the finish line is moving away faster than the signal can travel. Information from beyond that horizon is permanently, irreversibly lost to us, not because of engineering limitations, but because of the mathematical structure of an accelerating expansion driven by dark energy. Even within the observable universe, signals that originate at cosmological distances are being continuously degraded by this stretching. Advanced communications that may have been tightly structured and richly encoded at their source arrive after billions of years of travel through expanding space as faint, stretched, featureless perturbations in the background radiation that are virtually indistinguishable from thermal noise. The universe does not preserve messages, it dissolves them. Now add the third truth, the one that governs not the geometry of space, but the physics of how energy behaves when it radiates outward from a point source into three-dimensional volume. This is the inverse square law, and it is as merciless as any principle in physics. When a signal radiates outward in all directions from a transmitter, its energy is distributed across the surface area of an ever-expanding sphere. The surface area of a sphere grows with the square of its radius. Double the distance from the source, and the energy per unit area drops to 1/4. Triple the distance, and it drops to 1/9. At a distance of 1,000 light years, A signal has spread its energy across a sphere with a surface area so enormous that the fraction of that energy intercepting a receiving antenna of any conceivable size is essentially zero. At a distance of 1 million light-years, the situation is not merely worse by a factor of 1 million, it is worse by a factor of 1 million squared, because the law is quadratic, not linear. The most powerful radio transmitter humanity has ever built, the Arecibo planetary radar system, would be completely undetectable by an Arecibo equivalent receiver at a distance of just a few light years, not thousands of light years, not the diameter of the galaxy, a few light years. The nearest star beyond our sun is 4 light years away. At that distance, our most powerful directed transmissions are already vanishing into the noise floor of natural astrophysical processes. Now consider that the distances separating galactic civilizations are measured not in light years, but in thousands of light years, and that intergalactic distances are measured in millions and billions. The inverse square law does not scale linearly with our ambition. It scales quadratically with distance. And distance here is not a problem we can engineer our way around. It is a property of three-dimensional space. When you combine this with the thermodynamic reality that any signal propagating through space must eventually lose coherence to the thermal background, to the quantum noise floor of the vacuum, to the accumulated chaos of interstellar dust and plasma and magnetic fields that scatter and absorb and re-emit energy in random directions, the picture that emerges is not one of technical challenge. It is one of physical foreclosure. The laws of thermodynamics tell us that information spontaneously decays toward disorder. The universe does not maintain signals. It corrupts them. It dissipates them. It recycles their energy into the undifferentiated thermal bath of the cosmos until no trace of their original structure remains. And so we return to the shore of that expanding, heaving ocean. We stand there in the perpetual hurricane of cosmic noise, the thermal roar of a trillion stars, the low-frequency rumble of dark matter halos colliding, the stretched whispers of the Big Bang itself still cooling at 2.7 degrees above absolute zero. And we listen for a grain of sand dropped millions of years ago, thousands of miles away, by hands that may no longer exist, on a world orbiting a star that may have already died. This is not a failure of imagination or technology. This is physics being itself, precise and honest, stripping away every comfortable illusion. The lightcone geometry of relativity closes the door on synchronicity. The metric expansion of an accelerating universe stretches meaningful signals into featureless noise. The inverse square law and thermodynamic decay grind even powerful beacons into silence long before they can cross the distances that separate worlds. What remains when these truths have fully settled is something remarkable. Not despair, not nihilism, something closer to the kind of wonder that only genuine confrontation with physical reality can produce. The silence of the cosmos is not emptiness. It is the signature of a universe so vast, so ancient, so geometrically complex that the brief spark of conscious life on a small rocky world in an unremarkable spiral arm of one galaxy among hundreds of billions represents something the mathematics of probability and thermodynamics should perhaps not have allowed at all. We are here, running the equations, understanding the light cones, measuring the redshift, calculating the inverse square law, and finding in those calculations not the voice of another mind, but the clearest possible signal of our own improbable, fragile, irreducible existence. The universe does not owe us neighbors, it does not owe us company. What it has given us instead is mathematics precise enough to understand why we are alone, and consciousness sharp enough to find that understanding beautiful.